So you're thinking about moving to Helena, Montana, but you don't know much about the area, or you're just wondering about what the pros and cons of living there may be. Well, in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to cover. I'm going to go through those positives and negatives, the good and the bad of living in the Helena Valley. It's a relatively small town here in western Montana, surrounded by mountains and lakes and rivers, so there's definitely some things that are going to be important to know before moving or buying property here. If you haven't seen them yet, be sure to check out my previous videos on Helena, one where I did a full vlog tour around town, showed you Carroll College, as well as some various neighborhoods and different homes and different price points, and then my previous video to this one where we went and dove into Google Maps and talked you through the lay of the land in that way. And of course, I've got several videos on other places and other towns here in southwest Montana, like Bozeman, Three Forks, and even Big Sky. So as I said, I'm going to be going through those positives and negatives, or pros and cons, about living in the Helena Valley. So let's get after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Helena, Montana, or the surrounding areas here all over southwest Montana, like Bozeman, Big Sky, Three Forks, Livingston, and Ennis, then be sure to subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Helena and those surrounding areas. My name is Hallie. I'm a local real estate agent, and the team and I get calls, texts, and emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move here in beautiful southwest Montana, and we absolutely love it. Whether you're looking to buy or invest or move or sell in the next 9 days or 90 days, just give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we'd be honored to help you find your place here. All my information is in the description below. Helena is one of only 6 towns in Montana that is over 30,000 in population, with a population of about 32,000 currently. It's located, like I said, in western Montana, surrounded by mountains, fairly equally distanced from the northern and southern border of the state, and of course also surrounded by amazing lakes. So the Missouri River runs right past Helena. That means we've got Canyon Ferry Lake to the south, we've got Hauser Lake just to the east of town, and then a little bit further north we've got Holter Lake as well. So it's fairly understandable that the lake life, whether it's boating or fishing or water skiing, is pretty prevalent around Helena. One of the things that I definitely get asked about most often is the weather. And of course, most people are asking about winter. Much like the rest of western Montana, we do experience a pretty significant winter. Thankfully, right nearby, just outside of Helena, is Great Divide Ski Area, which is a wonderful spot. And there are several other wonderful ski resorts and mountains all over this part of the state as well. And of course, plenty of other opportunities to get outside and enjoy winter. But it is true, winters here can be brutal. Between the winds and the snowfall and the temperatures that sometimes go well below zero, it can be pretty difficult for people who aren't used to that or who aren't prepared. The days are also shorter, with less sunlight, being that we are further north in the country, of course. So we're going to see less daylight or less sunlight, and those long, cold nights definitely make for what can be a very challenging winter. Now the snow typically starts to fly in November, and often lasts into at least early April. The average temperatures in Helena, the high average in January is about 30 degrees and the low average is about 11. Now, of course, there's going to be extremes on either end of that as well. Now, of course, all of that snow absolutely affects the roads. Of course, the county and the city do the best that they possibly can to keep the roads as clear and as grippy as possible, but that's not always going to be perfect. There's going to be snow and ice and other situations that definitely come up. Visibility being one of those that of course no one can control. So it's always best to be prepared. Great winter tires and all-wheel drive make a world of difference, and of course, give yourself plenty of time, plan ahead, and always have an emergency kit in your vehicle anytime you're traveling around Montana, especially in winter. Now, on the other side of that, of course, we have our, spring and fall seasons, which tend to be kind of shoulder seasons, more transitional than anything else, and sometimes are a little bit short as winter does encroach on either one of those most of the time, but that does leave us with summertime for most of the road construction. So be sure to keep that in mind for summertime travel, as well as there could be delays based on, the different highways and interstates being worked on. And in summer especially, the climate is relatively dry. So we don't see a lot of rain except in the springtime. And so those later summer months can get pretty dry. We don't have a very high humidity, generally speaking. Now, this unfortunately also does lead to having somewhat of a fire season. Each year is different. It depends on what's going on, with the snowpack as well. But typically late summer, early fall, we will start to see, some smoke in the area. It could be from distant forest fires, even as far away as Canada or Washington or California, or it could be localized fires as well. So it is something to keep in mind. Sometimes there are bans on fireworks by that time of year because it's so dry and the fire risk is so high. Sometimes when you go camping, you won't be able to have a campfire for that reason. So it's always best to keep all of that in mind, keep your eye on that, so that you can be sure to, be as safe as possible and, not contribute to anything like that, of course. And then that does tend to affect the air quality at times. Oftentimes it'll pass through, or, like I said, if it's coming from another state, it can affect, the visibility just generally in the area. You may not have that mountain view for just a little while, and it can affect the air quality, especially for people who are more susceptible to that sort of thing. So again, another good thing to keep in mind when it comes to that climate and weather here. Now, one major pro, of course, is the outdoor recreation. It is abundant here. It's an outdoor lover's paradise. So you've got, as I mentioned before, the lakes nearby for boating, water skiing, incredible fly fishing all along that Missouri River. And of course, the skiing and snowboarding in the winter, snowmobiling, plenty of amazing hikes all around. And then of course there's some amazing mountain biking trails and incredible opportunity to get out and go camping or even rock climbing. Now, the area is also rich in history. The town got its start in gold mining and quickly became the Montana state capital. So there's a lot of incredible historical sites as well, one of which is the Gates of the Mountains, which is right off of Holter Lake. It's a boat tour that goes up the Missouri just a little ways and shows you kind of the experience of what Lewis and Clark encountered back in 1805. They remarked how the walls of the river, or the walls of rock next to the river, looked like they were opening as you got closer, so you get to go experience that as well. And of course, there's the Historical Society Museum, as well as an art museum and science museum. Now that of course brings us right into Helena. There is great opportunity downtown Helena for, wandering around, some wonderful dining, coffee shops, the carousel, that's where the science museum is, as well as the movie theater. There's also some absolutely wonderful events that happen in the area, including, the art walks, of course, in the summertime, as well as the Alive at 5 concert series. And then in the springtime, there is the Gold Rush Days, which is a weekend-long event celebrating the region's history. And Helena does have pretty significant public transportation with Capital Transit. It's a bus system, but just in 2022, last year, they have a new ride scheduling model where riders can select custom pickup and drop-off locations within city limits on an app to make public transportation more flexible and accessible. The city does admittedly have some interesting intersections and angles going on, and some critics have said that it can be difficult to navigate and is due to, potentially poor planning. But in today's world of technology and digital assistance, it's fairly easy to get around. As for the cost of living, it is one of the more affordable places to live, especially in western Montana. The cost of living is only 3 to 5% above the national average, whereas, nearby Bozeman is closer to or just over 20% higher than the national average. There are currently 111 active residential listings in the Helena and East Helena communities, with a median price of under $500,000, which is pretty significant compared to Bozeman, which is almost double that. Helena also has very highly rated public schools according to niche.com. There are 11 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 2 high schools. Now, I mentioned that Helena is our state capital. That was established back in 1875. And it has a beautiful Capitol area with the Capitol building right there in the middle of town. Now, Helena used to lack some, better dining options. People used to, that was a regular complaint from, locals as well as tourists. But now, especially in the last few years, there are some absolutely incredible newer and, revitalized dining options all over the Helena area, from a Japanese steakhouse and sushi to a Mediterranean grill to some of the older style saloons or diners as well. And of course, the very well-known brew house, which is right by the carousel and the movie theater in a wonderful central location there. And as I've mentioned at least once in this video so far, of course, Helena has Carroll College. Now, it's not as large as some of the other universities all around, Montana, especially Western Montana with Bozeman and Missoula having those state universities. But it's a wonderful, smaller liberal arts college, if that's the type of thing you're looking for, with a great selection of different programs. Now, one great pro is that it's also very close to those 2 international airports, both in Great Falls and Bozeman, but Helena does also have its own small regional airport. So just depending on where you're going or where you're flying through, it's definitely worth taking a look and seeing if flying right out of Helena is maybe the best bet. But either way, there are nearby larger airports as well. And when I say larger, I do mean, large for Montana. They are certainly not hubs, and you're going to likely be stopping in different places across the country before you get to your destination. But I know there are more and more direct flights coming to at least the Great Falls and Bozeman airports. Now, while that downtown area is absolutely lovely for all the dining and the walking and the museums, there does tend to be a lack of shopping in the Helena area, particularly diverse shopping. You may find certain, larger retail stores that have, plenty of variety of options, like your big box stores, things like that. But you're not going to find, as many diverse boutique type shops. You're not going to find as many options for clothing or any sort of specialty items. There are certainly some options, but you may find yourself traveling to some of those larger towns nearby if you're looking for something specific, or of course heading online to find what you're looking for. Another thing that Helena does tend to be lacking somewhat is diverse jobs. So the state capital being here definitely does bring some of those state and local and federal government positions to the area, but there's not a lot of other employment opportunities outside of, construction, and there's some tech in the area, which is something that has become more prevalent in neighboring Bozeman, of course. And then, of course, there's agriculture all around as some of the main fields that people might be looking for in the Helena area. And of course, Carroll College being there does offer some of those wonderful, education, employment opportunities, as well as the St. Peter's healthcare facility in the area. Now, the homes in Helena definitely tend to range from, some newer, lovely condos up on the hills to the south near Mount Helena, which is some great hiking, by the way, as well as, some older homes right near downtown, if you like that closer proximity. And then if you go a little bit to the north, of course, you're going to find homes on acreage that are a little bit higher price point, but you get so much for that money. Now, of course, there's always going to be lakefront properties as well. Those tend to be, $1 million plus, depending on, where that is and the proximity to those lakes. There's definitely some very high end options, $3 million plus. And then you're gonna find some more affordable options. There's gonna be smaller condos and smaller homes or townhomes right in Helena that are even in that $300,000 range. And of course, there are two distinct towns in the Helena Valley, really. You've got East Helena and Helena. They're very close together. East Helena has its own, schools and everything as well. And there are some wonderful new developments going on there. In fact, I drive through that during my vlog tour from just a couple weeks ago as well. But all in all, there's a wide variety of different homes and different price points so that you may be able to find what you're looking for and whatever fits with your needs and your budget right here in Helena. So all in all, Helena is an absolutely lovely, smaller town, not quite as big as Bozeman, Missoula, Billings, or Great Falls, but it's a wonderful community as well as an absolutely beautiful area. The folks who live in Helena tend to absolutely love it, whether it's because of that opportunity for lake life and getting outside, or maybe to own a little bit more acreage and still have those incredible mountain views. I hope you found value in this video, and if you have any questions or comments or anything that I may have missed, feel free to leave those in the comments below. And as always, whether you're looking to buy or sell or move or invest in the next 9 days or 90 days, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, or we can even set up a Zoom chat, and I'd be honored to help you find your place here in Helena, Montana, and the surrounding areas here in Southwest Montana. And until next time, I hope to show you around town.